Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Seven Square Podcast, Leadership Tips with Mr. Corey Sigue. Corey, how's it going today?
Oh man, we all good. And I look, I'm gonna just dive into the topic today. If you don't do anything with your life, listen to what Tyra says on this podcast because it's what he does. It's something that we talked about the other day, and it's something that a lot of entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, whatever, they really need to understand. So I'm without further ado, I'm gonna just kick it to you. So our topic today is, when do you become a real CEO? And without further ado, y'all, I present to you Mr. Tyra Shivers.
You wild for that one, Corey. Hey, but yeah, this topic is near and dear to me because I work with a lot of small business owners, a lot of solopreneurs, and then just entrepreneurs that they call themselves CEOs, and they think, and this might bite a little bit, and it might hurt some feelings, but that's okay. It's all love. That they own a business, but they don't. They actually own a glorified job, and they call themselves a CEO, but they're not a true CEO. So I want to just give a definition first. A CEO is a chief executive officer. It is an employee of a business, and they are responsible for making sure that the business runs the day to day. So the COO, if you have one, the CFO, the CTO, the CIO, all these other C suite report to the CEO. They handle day-to-day managerial running of the company. An owner is an individual that owns the company. They oversee. They may not have a day-to-day role. They may not come in the office. They may be on the beach and the CEO runs everything. So, of course, when you're a solopreneur, you are the owner, you are the CEO, but you're also the first line manager. You're also the employee that's doing the work. You everybody. It's not a real business because a business runs whether you're there or not. A business utilizes systems and processes to execute what happens in the day to day. So if you're claiming that you're CEO and that you got a business, I got news for you. You don't. You have a glorified job. And I'm going to stop right there, Corey, and get your take on that because I just wanted to clear the air with the definitions.
Well, I gotta let it calm down because I know some knees are hot right now, and I know the back of some necks are upset. Some hairs raised at this moment, but no,
Why you say you got no job? Why you say
right.
you no CEO?
Tyra, this video is gonna go viral. They're gonna say what Tyra said, I'm not a CEO, and then they're gonna start sending you definitions.
Death threats.
But I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. The term CEO, it's lovely. You created your LLC or your S corp or your sole prop, whatever. You created it, and now you call yourself a CEO, and that's great. I mean, that's wonderful. But until you get to a point in life where you really think about what an actual CEO does in a business, where you can wake up, look at somebody, and say, "How are we doing?" and they report back to you, "How are we doing?" That's when you're finally a CEO. Not when you go into it and you figure out what's going on and you have to do the reports and then you have to report back to yourself, or you have to do all the work yourself. And the Tyrus always says you're working in your business, not on your business. That's what a CEO does. They have people to deploy to then go do the work for them, right? And even honestly, Tyrus, even if you think about a really high level like solopreneur, they probably still have some type of assistant, some type of
Yep.
company that may be running figures for them on the back end. It's just that they don't employ a whole team. They may just have a what I'll say, like a virtual
Right.
assistant on the back end that says like, "Hey, I got all the data for you. This is what we need to do. Hey, I got all this info. This is what we need to do." But there are a lot of people. There's a lot of people who are just hustling, calling themselves CEOs, and
Bingo.
and I heard this on Shark Tank. They said basically your business will never scale unless you're the actual person presenting it. That's when you become a CEO. So I want people to really start to think about where can I get to a point in my business to where I can have someone to take care of that need for me, instead of me having to get up every single day And now it's taking every waking hour of my day to get to that point.
That's good, Corey. And let's frame it, because the point of that topic and the point of us talking about this is scaling your business. You can't scale your business with you doing all the work. It's going to hit a ceiling. You're going to get tired. You can be $1 million business on your own, but one day you're going to burn out. You won't be able to sustain it. And so if you want to read a book and get more understanding, the cash flow quadrants, I think that's it, by Robert Kiyosaki. Is it the cash flow quadrant? I think so. Yeah. Go look that up. If I butchered the name, just look up Robert Kiyosaki. It's his book right after Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So that explains self-employed, solopreneur, business owner, and investor. In order to scale your business, first, we understand you start out, you got a little bit of money, it's just you doing everything. Then you want to hire somebody to start taking off some of that work. And they can start doing that labor work that you were doing, the back end, the day-to-day. Then you hire somebody else. Now you start to build a little team. Then you want to hire your manager type person, so they can start managing those people that are doing the day-to-day. At that point, now you kind of shift into a CEO role, because you're driving strategy and you're taking care of the upper end while somebody handles the day-to-day duties. Then when you really talk about scaling a business, you hire that CEO. Now you become a true owner that communicates the vision and leaves the execution of it to the CEO and the team. That's scaling your business. And as you grow, you have more. You have a huge Fortune 500 company. They got a CEO. They got all these other people. They got frontline managers, upper managers, line managers, employees. They got it all, human resources. That builds out. But you have to have the plan. You also, and I want to throw this in as an addition, as you're wearing the dual hats and as you start to step out, you got to know your numbers in your business. I watched a training, Corey, with John Abraham, not John Abraham. What is his name?
Jay
I
Abraham.
lost
Is
his
it
name.
Jay?
Jay Abraham and Myron Golden and Tony Robbins. They were asking people what was the lifetime value of their customer. People like, what? What? If you don't know the numbers in your business, you ain't running a real business. You got a hobby. If you don't know things like what your customer acquisition cost is, you're not running a real business. You got a hobby, and you won't be able to scale. So the title, like Corey said, it's cool. It sounds good to call yourself a CEO or business owner, but the title doesn't mean anything if there's nothing in the bank. I actually saw a post, Corey, and I'm going to drop it back over to you, where somebody was like, well, making money isn't the point of my business. There's more to it for me. The definition of a business is to make profit. Like a successful business brings in profit. It's not about your philanthropy. If you want to do that, run a nonprofit. And I understand people do the nuances of, well, I'm doing it for my time and my freedom. You don't get time and freedom if you don't make profit.
Right. No, and that's real. You know what that made me think of is the movie, I believe it's called 12 Strong, with Chris Hemsworth, and it's like the soldiers riding on horses or whatnot
over there in Afghanistan.
Yeah, and so I learned something about the military. I don't. Tyrus got the military experience. I don't. So I learned there's in any squad there's a chief warrant officer, there's a captain, and then there's a help me with this, Tyrus, or whatever. It's a something sergeant. It's like the lead person. It's like the squad sergeant or something like that.
Oh, the squadron leader or the first sergeant?
Yeah, there you go. And so I was watching this video where it was some former military members, and they were breaking down the movie and how realistic it was. And that also made me think about just business in general. They said, why is the captain on the front line scoping stuff out and telling the team what to do and doing all that stuff? I was like, the captain doesn't do that, right? The captain and the chief warrant officer go get the mission for the first sergeant to then take his team and say, this is what we're doing, right? CEO time. I'm going to go get the mission in business. I'm going to go get the thing that we should be selling, the process that we should be doing, or the service that we're giving. And I have these people that will carry out said mission for me. And so they were laughing because they said, man, this guy's like Rambo. Like he's on the front line. He went get the mission. He lobbied for it. He's the one calling in airstrikes and stuff. He's the one doing all these things. And they're like, that's not his role. And that's what some of y'all look like right now, where your role is that you the one calling people, you the one scheduling your own stuff, you the one ripping and running 14 hours a day. And that's necessary to a certain point. But until you scale, right? Just imagine how successful that captain in that movie would be if it was only him trying to fight every war or like every battle that they ran into. You said it yourself. He would be burnt out. How much can you really engage in gunfights until you're just like, you know what, my body just can't take it no more.
Right.
Just one man crew. Right. One man crew. It's gonna overtake you, and you're not gonna be able to sustain longevity with that. But yeah, you got to get yourself to a point to where you're not the person calling. You're gonna be calling the shots, but you're not carrying out said shots. Like you need those people to report on back to you.
Exactly, because if you're too busy, and I was listening to Myron Goldman talk about this, he said the lowest paid people are implementers. They doing the day-to-day work every day. That's all they do. They do the day-to-day work. Then the next level, and I can't think of what the exact next level was, but it was your CEO. It was that individual that's executing and driving the day-to-day. Then the next level is the communicator, the people who make money with their mouth. That talking, they're giving direction, blah, blah, blah. Then that highest level was the person that worked with their mind and their mouth. They cast the vision. They don't do the day-to-day work. They're not in the weeds. They up here driving strategy because you have more time to use your imagination to come up with new ideas, new products, new services, and to think. And he was like, that's why the book is called Think and Grow Rich. Not work and grow rich, not implement and grow rich. It's think and grow rich. So while you're doubling down as, hey, I'm the CEO, I'm the solopreneur, I'm on my own, that sounds cool, but you only get so far in your business. And so now we just want to give you the steps. How do you get out of the CEO role? And I kind of went through it earlier really quick, but I want to break it down in a barbershop scenario. Okay. You cutting hair. You become a master barber, you license. You working in a shop, you cutting hair every day. You are the solopreneur who's cutting hair, got a little vision, but not able to execute because you got cut hair. If you sick, you don't get paid because you ain't cut no hair. Nobody paying credit on future haircuts. They ain't putting the paycheck in your mail. So what you do is you go out, you find you another barber, and you say, hey, I got whatever it is. It might be a room in the basement. Hey, come in my basement, cut hair. You pay me a little booth rent. Woo, 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 move forward. Then you get you another barber. Then you get you another barber. Then you get you a building. Now you have, and you're still cutting hair. You're still in the day-to-day. But you could take a couple of days off and still eat off of that booth rent everybody else giving. You cut enough hair. You get enough barbers. Then you get you a suite manager. That person in charge of making sure everything's going right in the building, that the other barbers showing up on time, that they doing what they need to do, that they handling the paperwork or the contracts or whatever you need. Then you could take time off. You don't have to cut hair because now you got enough barbers where it covers what you were making cutting hair, plus you eating off the booth rent, and you're able to pay a manager to be there and actually manage the building. That's how you scale. That's how you grow. Now, if you want to go and cut hair every now and then because that's a passion, you love it, you want to hang out, there you go. But if you're talking about making a barbershop $1 million business, you ain't cutting $1 million worth of hair unless you're charging $35,000 a cut. Other than that, you got to have a team. So that's how you scale a business and just looking at a barbershop. Corey, what you got?
Yeah. So I was going to say, as you were talking through that, I'm like, man, let's not even diminish who we have on the show. Yo, so Tyrus was mentioning before, he has properties. I never hear Tyrus talk about, I got to go check on this property. I got to go deal with this maintenance issue. I have to go do it. It's always, man, I got a call about this. I told my assistant to go do this, right? And I ain't trying to put all your business out there, but I was like, you are literally living that right now. You have a scaled business to where the only time, y'all, I ever hear Tyrus talk about real estate, honestly, is I'm about to close on this new property. I'm about to go get this new property in my name, or something really happened that way. I need to go take a look at it. Other than that, I always hear him say, which he's working in his scaled business mind, right? I only hear him say, I got this person go and do that, right? I need this made, so I went and kicked it over to my assistant. He's working on his business. He doesn't have to. And I know you had told me to figure. I'm not gonna put that out there because then everybody's gonna be like, well, Tyrus, let's go and get into real estate, because you know how they get. Everybody's like flipping houses on a whim right now, apparently.
Right.
But like you know what I'm saying? If you were to go and manage all of your properties, we wouldn't be doing this podcast right now. And you probably wouldn't look as vibrant as you are right now, because you would be done drugged through the dirt every single day, because it's just too much for you to take care of.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to make it even a little bit more real, because we have him on the show who he's just taking a call. Hey, what's going on with it? He doesn't have to go check himself. You're checking it for me.
Yeah. And it's usually not the first call. The first call goes to the admin. Then if it's something that they can't handle, it flows up. So you have to create. And even one of my clients, she was like, I'm so busy. People coming in the store. She owns a postal store. People come in the store. I'm having to deal with situations. I'm like, but don't you have somebody working in the front? Yeah, but so why are they bothering you? Well, things break. I got to go. No, something break that one time. You write it down, how you fixed it, and then that person takes care of that the next time. You have to remove yourself from the day to day and train the people that are with you to take care of those issues and not rely on you. So that's another nugget, Corey. I'm glad you brought that up before we get out of here. Don't build a team and still do all the work, because people do that too. They'll get a team together and bring people to help, but then they won't teach them. So they're still running around doing all the work and then complaining about, I got all these folks out on payroll and they ain't doing nothing. You got to train them. You got to teach them. You got to pour into them. You got to add value to them. They got to buy into the mission. And when you do that, you'll be able to turn over that work. And you also, and this might be a whole nother podcast, Corey, you got to have trust. A lot of people want to hold, like I heard so many CEOs, I'm the best at what I do, and I can't trust nobody else to do it the way I'm going to do it. No, you're not the best. There's always somebody better. Always. Now, if you're better than that person, I give you that. But you got to at least give them an opportunity, because you're not the absolute best in what you're doing. There's always somebody else. You just have a trust issue and don't want to let go. So if you got something else, Corey, before we close out, go forward.
Yeah, I think we should really close it out with this, right? So to your point of the individual that said, I'm the best that's doing it. Are you the best at doing this because it's you doing it? Or are you competing against somebody else and saying you're the best because they have somebody doing it just as well, if not better than what you're doing it? So I want y'all to leave with this. Is the only reason you're really good at what you do because you're the person who has to do it.
That's a good one. That's a mic drop. Leave with some thought. So again, go out, and I understand if you're not at a point to where you can start hiring people, at least get that in your mind that that's the next step for you, and create the vision on how you're going to do it and work your way up there. Because if you really want to grow a business, have a real business and a scalable business, you can't do it alone, and you can't do all the work. And then you are not a business. You are a glorified job owner, self-employed. You got a job. You just think that you own it. So we'll leave it at that. Thank you for joining us for another edition of the 7 Square Podcast Leadership Tips with Mr. Corey Sigue, and we'll see you next time.